Ever wondered what happens when you knock on an Amish door with a gift in hand? Most people think they'd slam it shut. But the truth about Amish hospitality might surprise you more than you ever imagined. English mystery. Here's something that confuses everyone. Why do the Amish call outsiders English? It has nothing to do with your accent or where you're from. When Amish settlers first arrived in Pennsylvania, most of their neighbors spoke English. The name just stuck. Today, whether you're German, Mexican, or from next door, you're still English to them. This simple term has created decades of misunderstanding about how the Amish really view their neighbors. It's not meant to be exclusionary or judgmental, it's just their way of distinguishing between community members and everyone else in the world around them. Isolation myth. People think the Amish live like hermits, avoiding all contact with the outside world. That's completely wrong. The Amish don't look down on outsiders or judge them harshly. They actually approach different cultures with genuine curiosity and respect. Their communities welcome visitors warmly, opening their homes for conversations and cultural exchange. They maintain their values while staying friendly with neighbors. It's about balance, not isolation. The misconception comes from their choice to live differently, not from any hatred or fear of the modern world. They engage with outsiders regularly through business, neighborly interactions, and community events. The difference is they do it on their own terms, maintaining their faith and traditions while building meaningful relationships. Ordnung Rules. Ordnung sounds scary, but it's not what most people think. This German word means order or discipline, and it's basically a set of guidelines for living a good Christian life. Here's the surprising part. It's actually flexible. The Ordnung gets reviewed and updated when needed. It's not meant to make people suffer or control them harshly. Each Amish community has its own version, and they can vary from place to place. When it comes to accepting gifts from outsiders, the Ordnung doesn't say absolutely not. Instead, it provides principles to help them decide what's appropriate. The rules focus on maintaining humility, simplicity, and community unity. They're designed to protect their way of life while allowing for practical interactions with the outside world. Understanding this flexibility helps explain why gift giving between Amish and English communities can work so well when done thoughtfully. Gift traditions. Gift giving means everything to the Amish. It's how they show love, express thanks, and celebrate special moments together. But their gifts look different from what you'd find at a regular store. They focus on practical items over fancy ones, and handmade gifts are treasured because they represent hours of careful work. Traditional Amish gifts include those famous faceless dolls made with incredible attention to detail and beautiful sewing baskets that show off their amazing craftsmanship. At Christmas, families create special baskets filled with homemade treats and simple gifts. Everything has meaning. Every gift tells a story of time spent caring for someone else. This tradition of meaningful giving shapes how they think about presents from their English neighbors, too. The emphasis on personal touch and practical value creates a framework for understanding what kinds of gifts from outsiders will be welcomed. Their own gift-giving traditions emphasize relationships over materialism, time investment over monetary value, and lasting usefulness over temporary pleasure. These same principles guide their acceptance of gifts from the English community. Surprising answer. Here's the answer that shocks everyone. Yes, the Amish absolutely can and do accept gifts from English people. There's no rule saying they can't be friends with non-Amish folks. They love meeting new people and having real conversations about life. The research is clear. The Amish community genuinely appreciates thoughtful gestures and kind acts from their English neighbors and friends. They see gift-giving as a bridge that brings different communities together, creating goodwill and understanding. But there's a catch. The gift has to match their values. Amish teachings emphasize humility and simplicity, so they avoid excessive materialism. Gifts that fit these values get welcomed warmly. As long as your gift doesn't offend their beliefs or contradict their way of life, they'll probably love it, and they'll likely give you something handmade in return. The key is understanding that acceptance doesn't mean abandoning their principles. They evaluate each gift based on whether it aligns with their commitment to simple living, helps their family or community, and comes from a place of genuine friendship rather than trying to change or influence their lifestyle choices. Perfect gifts. Homemade treats work perfectly. Think cookies, fresh bread, or homemade pies. These show personal effort and match their love for traditional homemade food. Fruit baskets are incredibly popular, especially at Christmas, because Amish families are usually large and there's enough for everyone to enjoy. Plants make amazing gifts. A beautiful shrub for their garden or a houseplant for indoors shows you understand their connection to nature and simple living. Puzzles are always winners. Simple ones for little kids and challenging 500-piece puzzles for teenagers. They prefer nature scenes or farm pictures. High-quality fabrics in plain colors work well, especially if they're practical and modest. Calendars are foolproof choices. Wall calendars with inspiring verses or beautiful photos of places they'll never visit, like Hawaii or Europe. For Amish men, think practical items like quality pocket knives, useful tools, headlamps for working at night, or books with photographs of faraway places. Garden seeds, canning supplies, and quality kitchen utensils also make excellent choices. The common thread in all successful gifts is their practical nature and respect for Amish values of simplicity and functionality. Gift mistakes. Some gifts just don't work, and it's usually obvious why. The Amish are traditional Christian families who avoid modern technology, so don't bring them magazine subscriptions or electronic gadgets. Never bring jewelry, makeup, or flashy clothing. The Ordnung specifically forbids these items because they promote vanity and worldliness. Alcohol should be avoided unless you know the family well, as it could create awkward moments, even though some Amish do drink privately. Electronic items are completely off limits. No radios, televisions, or anything needing electricity from power lines. Even some games can be problematic. One father rejected a competitive game, saying a cooperative one would have been better because it matched their values of humility and working together. Remember that different Amish communities have different rules. Some are more traditional than others. When you're unsure, choose the simpler, plainer option. For kids' gifts, always show parents first. Don't take offense if they prefer you not give something specific. Church rules vary between areas. Expensive items can also create discomfort, as they might feel obligated to reciprocate with something of equal value. The goal is thoughtfulness, not creating burden or embarrassment for the receiving family. Community approval. Gift acceptance isn't just an individual decision, it affects the whole community. Strong relationships with neighbors help, and practical gifts that benefit everyone get especially warm welcomes. But the Amish must consider how their choices affect relationships with neighboring districts. If one community accepts something too radical, other Amish groups might cut off communication or refuse to recognize them as true Amish. Family connections make this even more complex. An Amish woman might love a gift, but worry about what her daughter's in-laws in a stricter district might think. She could end up unable to visit her own grandchildren if her community gets shunned for being too liberal. The Amish respect their privacy and lifestyle, so never pressure them to accept something. If they can't accept your gift, they'll usually explain why calmly and kindly, treating it as a chance to help you understand their ways better. Church leaders and community elders have huge influence in setting standards, and their approval or disapproval of certain gifts can affect entire districts. Parents act as gatekeepers for children's gifts, making sure everything follows church rules while teaching kids about appropriate boundaries. Understanding these social dynamics helps English neighbors give successfully while respecting the complex community structures that define Amish life. The interconnected nature of Amish society means individual choices ripple through extended family and community networks in ways outsiders might not immediately understand. Bridge building. When English neighbors show kindness through thoughtful gifts, something beautiful happens. The Amish see these gestures as bridges connecting different worlds, creating goodwill and understanding between communities that live very differently. These connections prove that communities can appreciate and respect each other despite their differences. The Amish actively work to build relationships with outsiders, looking for ways to bridge gaps between communities through mutual respect and shared values. Most Amish people genuinely enjoy talking with outsiders when they don't feel like curiosities in a zoo. They want real conversations, not just gawking. Personal touches make gifts more meaningful. A handwritten note shows extra care, and homemade items are treasured because they mirror the Amish approach to creating things with love and attention. Supporting community projects or charities the Amish endorse shows you understand their focus on helping others. Successful gift giving creates positive cycles. When English neighbors show respect for Amish values while offering thoughtful gestures, it often leads to return kindness and deeper understanding between communities. These connections prove that cultural differences don't have to create walls when people approach each other with genuine respect and care. The practice shows how simple acts of kindness can cross cultural boundaries while honoring what makes each community special and unique. These bridges of understanding often extend beyond individual families to create broader networks of cooperation and mutual support between Amish and English communities throughout entire regions. Trust building. Trust develops slowly but surely when gift giving is done right. The first gift might receive polite thanks, but consistent thoughtfulness over time builds genuine friendship. Amish families begin to anticipate visits from English neighbors who understand their values and show consistent respect. These relationships often become genuinely reciprocal, with Amish families sharing their own handcrafted items, inviting English friends to community events, and offering practical help when needed. The barriers that seemed so solid begin to feel more like gentle boundaries that can be crossed with mutual respect. Children in both communities benefit enormously from these connections. English kids learn about simpler living, traditional crafts, and strong family values. Amish children gain exposure to different perspectives while seeing their own culture appreciated by outsiders. Parents on both sides watch their children develop friendships that cross cultural lines naturally. Some English families develop annual traditions, bringing specific items at holidays, remembering birthdays with appropriate gifts, or offering seasonal help like sharing garden produce. These patterns create predictable positive interactions that both communities come to value. The most successful relationships involve learning from each other. English neighbors might adopt some Amish practices like family dinners without television, while Amish families might appreciate learning about different places through books or conversations. This mutual enrichment happens naturally when respect and genuine interest guide the relationship. Trust, once established, often extends beyond individual families to broader community connections, creating networks of goodwill that strengthen both communities. These trusted relationships become foundations for cooperation during difficult times, whether dealing with natural disasters, economic challenges, or community needs that require working together across cultural lines. Modern challenges. Today's world presents new challenges for Amish gift-giving traditions. Online shopping means English neighbors have access to items from around the world, but the Amish still prefer simple, locally made goods. This can create misunderstandings when well-meaning neighbors bring exotic or expensive gifts that feel overwhelming. Social media and instant communication have changed how English communities think about gift giving, often emphasizing speed and convenience over thoughtfulness. The Amish approach remains focused on personal connections and meaningful exchanges, creating a gap that requires patience and understanding from both sides. Younger English generations might struggle to understand why certain gifts are inappropriate, especially when those same items are common in mainstream society. Educational opportunities become crucial. Amish families often take time to explain their reasoning, helping neighbors understand the deeper principles behind their choices. Economic differences can create awkwardness too. Some English families have significantly more disposable income than their Amish neighbors, leading to gifts that feel excessive or inappropriate. The key lies in remembering that value comes from thoughtfulness, not price tags. Environmental consciousness has created interesting common ground. Many Amish practices align with modern sustainability concerns, making gifts like reusable items, organic products, or environmentally friendly materials particularly welcome. This shared value creates new opportunities for meaningful exchanges. Technology integration in gifts remains tricky. Solar-powered items might be acceptable in some communities but not others. Battery-operated tools could be welcome for practical use, but rejected if they're seen as steps toward dependency on modern conveniences. Despite these challenges, the fundamental principles remain unchanged. Respect, thoughtfulness, and genuine care still open doors and build bridges between communities committed to different ways of life. The key is adapting traditional gift-giving wisdom to navigate modern complexities while maintaining the core values that make these exchanges meaningful. The truth about Amish gift acceptance reveals something beautiful about human connection. Respect and genuine care can bridge any cultural gap. When gifts reflect values of simplicity, practicality, and heartfelt consideration, they become more than objects. They become symbols of friendship across different worlds.